Good day, Internet! This is the Wrestling Show. And today I thought I'd do a video on horrible stables. Now, just because they're on this list doesn't mean the wrestlers in these stables are horrible. It's just that stables themselves that are horrible. Their premise, their booking, whatever. They're horrible. It's not really a tier list, just kind of off my head. I did make some notes. Just trying to get back into this thing of making wrestling videos. And of course, subscribe not just to this channel, but to Nerdiverse, my other channel, where I talk things that are nerdy, but not pro wrestling, because maybe you don't like pro wrestling. And then check out my friends over at NerdTube. All that's either going to be in the description box or up in that banner or whatever. There's links somewhere. Just look for them. It's worth your time, definitely, to check out NerdTube and Nerdiverse. So yes, let's get to it. Let's get it out of the way. Spirit Squad, yeah, all right. We did get Dolph Ziggler out of it. Maybe this stable would have been a little better 10 years earlier. Still would have been annoying. Like, they tried to book him as this comedic thing, but also as a threat. And I'm like, that doesn't work. You could be a face in a sometimes I guess you get over if you're like a heel and comedic, but then you can't also be booked as a serious threat. Like, all three of those don't work together. And just the fact that, like, they would always get beat up when there's 5 of them and they would be taking on Triple H and Shawn Michaels. I get it, it's HBK, it's Triple H, they're, Hall of Famers and awesome and world champs. But it's like 5-on-2, you should be able to hold your own occasionally. But that's pretty much all they did, is get beat up by DX. I think they won the tag titles once from like Ric Flair and Rowdy Piper or something. 2 random legends that got the tag belts. I think they beat them. Or maybe it was Ric Flair and Rowdy Piper that beat the Spirit Squad. Might have happened both ways. I'd have to look that up. You guys can look into that. But they definitely were tag champs. Maybe, I think it was Big Show and Kane they beat or something weird. Yeah, that sounds right. We'll go with that. Anyway, it's too much time already on the Spirit Squad. Concourage, that was over in TNA back in the day. Now, if you're Awesome Kong, why do you need a stable? Like, you're already, not to be mean, she was a bigger lady. She was already like 2 or 3 divas / knockouts back in the day. Like, just in her as being Awesome Kong, she was equivalent to like 2 or 3 ladies that were on the roster, because a lot of them were just kind of skinny. So why would you need a stable? So I had to write it down. I'm like, Raisha Saeed. So all I remember from her, I don't know who she actually was. Maybe she was a good wrestler. I don't think she even had that much screen time. They put a little, veil on her and doing the I'm a mysterious Middle Eastern, I hate America gimmick. Raka Khan, I don't remember enough about her, but I know she was like tall. Wasn't she almost like 7 feet tall? So it's like, she could have been, if she was trained good enough, she could have, been a good maybe women's champ or whatever. But they just threw her in the stable. And then Sojourner, I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, Bolt. Don't remember anything about her, so I'm just gonna say she's all right, because I don't want to say anything bad about her. But like, this whole stable was just dumb, because it's like, Awesome Kong doesn't need backup. If anything, Awesome Kong should be in a stable backing up somebody. But when you're like the champ, it seems kind of weird to be like second fiddle to somebody else. So it just seemed like, hey, we got some African American women and whatnot. What do we do with them? And they're like, we'll be lazy and just book them in that stable. God. Lazy booking, that's all that was. Mean Street Posse, you had Pete Gas, what was Rodney something, and then Joey Abs. Pete Gas. And it was like Shane McMahon's friends from high school or whatever. And then Joey Abs was the only like legit wrestler in the group. And all they did was help Shane McMahon, and they wore like turtlenecks, and they were rich. That was That was the stable's premise. Their theme music was like, I don't know, like on a keyboard or something, because it was like dun 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 dun. Their Titantron was them just like, oh, let me look different ways and stuff, like, because they didn't wrestle, so they couldn't like show it. Oh, good. They couldn't show them doing actual moves because they didn't wrestle. So it's them just like looking and like walking to the ring. You know it's bad when that's all they could do. When your Titantron is just like you walking to the ring. Oh goodness. X Factor. Now, like I said, more towards the beginning of the video, just because you're on my worst stables video doesn't mean every wrestler in said stable is horrible. Like X Factor, the people in it, they were good or awesome or whatever. You know, I had nothing bad to say about them. So X Factor, you had X-Pac, 1, 2, 3 Kid, 6, whatever you want to call him. He always usually had good matches or decent. I have nothing against him. He always got X-Pac heat because, you know, it's X-Pac. I don't know. They just hated him. And you had Albert A-Train Tensai, a good big man, and just incredible. I don't know enough about him, but, like, from what I did see in X Factor, like, again, I can't really knock any three of these. But the fact that they just threw them all in a stable randomly and, like, made X-Pac the leader of a faction, I guess they felt sorry for him. It just didn't all gel. I didn't buy into X-Pac being a boss of Albert. It's like Albert could have just went on his own. It's like, if anything, Albert should have been the boss. But then I guess why would your backup be 2 smaller dudes? So I think they could have done something with the stable, but because they could have done the, hey, we're really good but we're overlooked kind of thing, which was true. You know, they were pretty good. But then the Alliance came along and they deep sixed it. But they could have definitely used a better theme song. It was like, I got everything I ever wanted and I'll never take it back or give it back, or whatever he said. And then they even acknowledge in the theme song that, we know you hate X Factor. Yes, we do. Obviously Job Squad, Truth Commission, the whole gang warfare in 1997-98, Los Barriquas DOA, Nation of Domination obviously was pretty good, but Los Barriquas and DOA was just like, hey, we got like a bunch of dudes, let's just like put them on like similar outfits and, I don't know, put them in a gang and fight. Because Savio Vega was in Los Barriquas, right? And then I have no idea who the other 3 gentlemen were. Same, actually, the whole DOA, I don't think I know who anyone was. Well, wasn't the leader like Crush or something? And then he led like 8 Ball, Chains. I guess they're all gang, like, oh, look at this, 8 Ball. I don't know, Brass Knuckles. But, I don't know. They're moving on. Misfits in Action, so that's over in WCW back in the day. You know, you had a lot of great mid-carders, 2 main eventers in that stable. Again, the premise of the stable made no sense. It was just like, if you're on this list, you're either horribly booked as a stable, like your existence as a stable is either pointless or nobody cares, or, you know, the stable is just random people thrown together. You have G.I. Joe, Booker T, Lieutenant Loco, Chavo Guerrero, General Rection, get it? Bill DeMott. So the premise was random people thrown together in a stable, why not? And I guess their gimmick was their military or something. Like, moving on. League of Nations. So that was Sheamus. I think he had just won the belt back in 2015. Alberto Del Rio, Rusev, and Wade Barrett. So I like Alberto Del Rio. like me personally, I'm not gonna say he's a horrible wrestler, but he's not entertaining. He's just blah. And like, he was never good on the mic. He's just, I think his pedigree was just oversold, and they pushed him too much, and then we all looked at him and were like, not really. But I think Wade Barrett should have won the title, but he never did. I never had a problem with Sheamus. He was never like particularly engaging, but he was a good wrestler. Never remember flocking to watch Sheamus matches, but yes. And I like Rusev was a bigger guy that was good. And I already said Wade Barrett. Rusev, Alberto Del... I lost my train of thought. So Sheamus, yeah. Rusev, yeah. Alberto Del Rio, not so much, meh. And Wade Barrett. But it was just for random gentlemen that they're like, what do we do with these? They're all foreigners, so we'll put in a stable, and they don't like America. Like, that hasn't been reused. Like, it got old, but it was kind of understandable that they did the Un-Americans, you know. It was after 9/11, cheap heat, all that stuff. But it's like, it's 2015. You could stop doing the anti-American stables, because then the fans are going to be chanting USA all the time, even though half the time the faces were like Canadian or foreigners themselves. Look, I have no problem with foreigners, but you shouldn't be chanting USA to foreigners, because that'll make them feel bad. Like, you should be like, go this wrestler name. Like, if all the faces were Canadian and you're chanting USA, how's that a rallying cry for them? Like, yeah, go country that borders us. Oh, goodness. What else we got? Job Squad, Truth Commission, all that stuff. Oh, I did find a stable in ECW, because I'm like, what's a bad stable in ECW? And apparently it came up with D-Ballers. I guess I never heard of this stable before. Apparently it was a bunch of wrestlers that had shaved heads. They were bald. That was it. That's if I was making a tier list, I would just put that at the top, because that's like worse than the anti-American thing. Like, really? That is why you formed a stable, because you all have shaved heads. Oh, goodness. Of course, there's lots of other stables that are bad, but that would be a 2-hour-long video at least. I was trying to think of bad stables in AEW. Nothing really comes to mind. They've only been in existence for, 5 years? You had like the Dark Order. These aren't bad stables. I'm just kind of listing stuff. What do you have? The Pinnacle, the Jericho Appreciation Society, Inner Circle. I believe you had some more. That's the only that come off the top of my head. Doesn't like the Bullet Club still kind of... I feel like there's like 9 different versions of Bullet Club. So yeah. So that was my horrible stables video. Let me know what you thought in the comment section, as far as maybe horrible stable that I just overlooked and I definitely should have mentioned. Again, I'm not going to mention every horrible stable, but I think I got some of the worst ones that are out there. So thank you all, and have a great day.